All right, welcome back to the Artist Connection podcast. This is Matt Kasar here with a very special returning guest and a good friend of mine, Mr. Jordan White. Welcome, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you back. We were just talking a little bit before we started recording about how long it's been, and boy, the years are melting away. I can't imagine it being about 2.5 years since we last spoke, but...
I know. I don't know where it's going. It just it's flying by, and there's no chance to stop it.
No, there's not. There's not.
There's nothing you can do. As much as you try, it doesn't work. It just gets worse, I think.
It just keeps going. And looking at your schedule, and I know how committed you are to music, you've always been a very busy man since I first met you in 2011. I didn't know anything about you then other than what your bio said and what some of your shows were. But my God, you really stay involved in the music business. You're always talking about it, and you're always out there doing it. And you're also, kind of praising your fellow artists and your peers and getting them out there too, which is great. I admire that about you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, a lot of people with how big social media is these days. I mean, a lot of people kind of ask me what I think of their songs, and if I like it, I'll post about it or something. And yeah, I've been keeping fairly busy. I mean, October's somewhat busy, and then things typically die down a little bit in December and January because of the holidays and the weather.
The weather too, sure.
The summer's been pretty busy so far.
Yeah, nice. Now, we just started the show by listening to your brand new single, and I mean brand new, right? It just came out. Did you just release it yesterday?
Yeah, literally like within a few days.
Nice.
That's come out.
Crazy Girl.
Mm-hmm.
What can you tell me about that? It's a great track.
Oh, thanks. Well, the track was produced by David Ivory, who he's a Grammy-nominated producer out of around Philadelphia, Doylestown, sort of. And he works with like the Roots and Patti LaBelle and Hailstorm up in Scranton or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And he and it was engineered by Joe Lamb and then mastered by Tom Coyne. Now he's had this guy Tom Coyne is insane. Like he's from Sterling Sound in New York City. He's got like 35 number one songs that he mastered.
Wow.
Just recently I saw it was a Justin Bieber song,
nice.
Or not. So that's and the recording process was pretty cool. It was I went into this was before I signed with Flexitel. That's David Ivory's. He's the president also, and he does a lot of the production and so forth. And I went in there and he said, bring your guitar and just play. And him and maybe three of his colleagues or peers or whatever just kind of sat there and stared at me in this little room as I played. It was kind of strange. Because it felt back when I was a kid, when I was like 17 and trying to get people to listen to anything, in small, like, rooms or I went to my cousin's house or something. So, and I played a few songs, and then I started playing Crazy Girl, and he said, I think we should record this one. We should record that one. And basically the song, it took a while to record because there's so much going on. There's a lot of layers, and there's a lot of instruments, and we had people that play with Alicia Keys come in, the studio musicians, and all kinds of people came in with that, with the Roots and everything. And the one guy who did percussion on the track. 2 days later, he was on Jimmy Fallon on the Tonight Show playing with the Roots, which was kind of cool.
Wow!
Yeah, just so like. And the song, basically about the writing of the song, it's pretty much it's kind of an older song, but it was never recorded. I wrote it a few years ago, but it was basically just that old thing about wanting what you can't have or wanting what is wrong, what is actually wrong for you to want because it kind of ruins you, but you're kind of like addicted to it.
Yeah,
so
sure.
It's basically like this. Yeah, like there was like this girl I met, and she was totally wrong for me, but I still was involved, and I still put a lot of effort into it. And as you can probably tell with the song, it didn't work out. So.
And sometimes you get that too when you think about how something was and reminisce, and then you want to go back to it, but then sometimes you forget what caused you to leave in the first place.
Yeah, right. That's almost like the thing when you look back on memories and you kind of sometimes are nostalgic for things that you don't really recall the bad things about that, you know what I mean? So I look back now on it, and it's kind of a funny story now, but at the time it really messed me up. Like the whole thing with her was really messed up because she was really gorgeous and all those things that a 23-year-old guy would be interested in, and it's just oh man, it was a disaster. Like cops were called. Over stuff, and she had fights with other people because I was with her. I got pulled into it. I didn't even know these people. it was crazy debauchery and everything that you could think of, bad behavior and all that kind of thing.
Now, how is it
But
when you write a song like that, and now it's out there, and people are of course going to want to hear it live because it's a great track? How does that feel when you kind of get those memories out, and you really have to do it in front of people every time you perform it? Does that make you feel weird, or is it like a cathartic thing for you?
that's what did you say, cathartic? It kind of is, yeah, because when you're singing it, especially live, like you said, you kind of remember what kind of state you're in when you actually wrote it, like the first time. Like when I sat down and wrote that first line, that there's, she was a beauty batting eyelashes against blue iris eyes, because she had blue eyes.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a poetic way of saying it, but it's just me saying, wow, she was really hot. So yeah, you're absolutely. When you sit down and actually play it, and people are really listening, it definitely takes you back to the moment. Now it takes me back to the good and the bad, because there was some good with her. I learned a lot, and I guess maybe like a stronger person. But there's also bad stuff. But that's the part. That's the whole thing with a memory. You can have a memory of something. It's kind of like a ghost. You can see it, but it's not really there. And the memory. With every memory, there's usually positive and negatives if you look deep enough. So, yeah, it's definitely cathartic, I think.
And as people, we can manipulate those memories to whatever. If you're in a good mood, you can pick out the good, or if you're in a depressed or bad mood, then that's when you dwell on the bad. Yeah, it's true.
Right. Mm-hmm. I think that's called the hindsight bias. I think that's a psychological term.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like if you say you had a car accident when you were 23, like 10 years ago, whatever. And you remember, that led to me meeting someone that was really nice, and a relationship started because, maybe you hit them or something. But you don't remember how the pain when you smacked your head into the steering wheel and stuff, Of course, that's just a real generic example.
No, but I know you know that well. I mean, one of the times I saw you perform, you were right off of a car accident. And talking about what a trooper and what a performer you are, I mean, anybody else would have just said, hey, sorry, can't make it, here's why. But man, you soldiered on, and you did the show, and you put on the sunglasses, and you rocked it. I mean, nobody would have known.
Awesome. I actually had a fractured, whatever that bone is within your eye, like occipital lobe.
Yeah.
It was like cracked. And I had my seatbelt on, but my head hit the steering wheel, and the seatbelt was still on, which I don't understand what happened, because I had the big mark on my chest from the seatbelt.
Yeah, you sure did.
That was weird. Yeah, I remember that though. That was at I think that was in Bethlehem.
It was in the Sun Inn Courtyard, the Tunes at Twilight thing. Yeah.
Yep. Cool.
So I see you have a lot of dates coming up as well. Like you said, it slows down a little bit in December, but you have some things coming up in the Philadelphia/Lehigh Valley area through October, November, and early December is on there too.
Mm-hmm.
How often do you plan these things out pretty far in advance, or do you just kind of go with the flow a little bit? It looks like you have some set places you go to, often that you revisit on a monthly basis. But how do those other dates come up?
You're right. A lot of them are repeated ones, like such as Viva Bistro and Wild Missing. That's kind of by Reading. I've been there for about a year and a half.
Oh, nice.
One to three times a month or so.
That's cool.
And some of the other ones, a lot of them are repeat shows, but sometimes we'll get a new one thrown in randomly. And I'll basically book them as far ahead as the venue or the client, I guess you could say, wants to, because I've had things that were booked. Like there's a show booked in May already for 2015. I just didn't put on my site because it's so far away.
Yeah, sure.
Stuff like that. So yeah, definitely. I just try to stay busy. I mean, I'm not playing tonight, which is kind of strange, but most Fridays I am, or Saturdays. But I just try to keep busy, because I figure the more, even if I'm not playing all my original things, at least playing out is better than nothing, because every time you play, more people have heard you and are probably likely to buy maybe your single, or at least come see you again or something. So that's how you get this kind of stuff done. You just take small steps.
Yeah, you sure have to, because there's so many people out there, and there's only so much time as a fan or as a listener or as somebody that goes out for live music. There's only so much time in your day, and I guess you as a performer, you have to just keep your face and your name out there and keep moving. Right. Yeah.
There's so many, like we were saying, time goes so fast now, and it's probably partially because there's so many distractions now. I mean, people have, the iPhone is a more powerful computer than what they